I've talked about it a few times on this channel, especially when we go over lessons about marketing. Your website is an extremely important asset to your brand building and also creating a longevity to your career. And the reason is because your website is literally your storefront. It's the place people will go to buy things, see things, hear things, learn things, and ultimately connect closest to your brand, not necessarily your adventure. That's what social media is for. But today we are going to focus on some things you can do to make your website stronger and smarter for creating something more than just, hey, by the way, here's some headshots, or here's some songs that my band does, or here's something. By the way, I have a movie poster. Here it is. Let's create something powerful with your website. So let's get started. As always, I'm Thomas J. Beleza. So please like, comment, and share this video along with subscribing for future content on how to be successful in your career, specifically the entertainment industry. Let's get on to it, shall we? So today we're going to talk about smarter websites and a few things that you should be thinking about when either creating your website or updating your website, or just in general, maintaining your website. And then we're going to go over a real-time example of a website and things that you could utilize on it, and how to really show brand, etc., etc. Let's go to the first thing. Smarter websites need simple URLs. And the reason is because right off the bat, names are difficult. They just are. As I said, my name, right, is Thomas, right, J. Beleza. Okay? Now, Obletza. Beleza. The thing is, Thomas, very rarely will you forget the H, right? Even though sometimes I pronounce my name Tommaso, which is how it's supposed to be pronounced. The J could be J-A-Y, right? And then the Beleza, right? That's a difficult name. Sometimes people just do one L and one Z. Sometimes whatever, maybe they'll forget the E. The thing is Beleza, right? Beleza, ba, right? B-A, Beleza. That's what it, Beleza, right? B-A-L-E-Z-A. That's difficult for people. And the thing is, if someone goes, what's your website? I'm going to go, it's thomasjbeleza.com, which does exist, right? But that's a difficult website to go to. So I still own the URL for Thomas J. Beleza, but I market a much easier website. I market one that also says something about my brand. So I do make a right, left, here. .com. Right? And then my slogan is, do you have what it takes to make a right, left, here? So make right, left, here, and A, right? So all these words are very easy to spell. Everybody knows how to spell them. Right, left, here, make, A, all those. It doesn't matter how you hear them. Even if I said here, left, right, A, make, you're going to know those words. You're going to know how to spell them. There's no question. Maybe you want to be a smart ass and be like, well, A will be like, hey, or like, hey, like us Italians, us Sicilians, hey, what's the matter with you, right? But that's not the case. Because it's also a sentence. It's a saying. Make a right, left, here. All right? The power to a URL, it has to say something about you. So let's assume your name is Janine, right? Now there are many ways to spell Janine, but let's say it's Janine K. Let's say Milton. All right, first of all, Janine, if someone just says my website is Janine K. Milton, Miltoon, right? But it's pronounced Milton. So Janine K. Milton. Let's just say, hey, what's your website? It's Janine K. Milton. Right off the bat, how do you spell Janine? So now that's, how do you spell Janine? All right? It's spelled though. Maybe you'll be like, oh, it's Jeanine. It's Jeanine, right? I have to remember that, right? And then K. Now, if you notice, I played a trick, right? With my name, it's J, so you might think it's Jay, but it's not. It stands for something else, right? So in this situation, the person uses the name K as in KY, KAY, KY, K KAY. So now somebody might write K as in just the letter K. And then Milton is spelled Miltoon. And this is the reason names are difficult. And what you should be doing is trying to figure out what is your website about, what is your personality, what is your brand. Now, obviously, if you're a massive brand, you can use whatever URL you want at that point. Like if you're McDonald's, you could use mcdonalds.com and no one's going to have a hard time spelling it out. If it's michaeljordan.com, no one's going to have a trouble spelling Michael, even though it's a difficult name to spell for people with dyslexia. But the idea is when something is so well known, when your brand is huge, we're playing with different rules. What I'm talking about is what you should be doing to establish your audience, because audiences have to discover you, and you have to make it as easy as possible for them. So simple URLs should represent something about your brand. It should say something. So for me, for my personal brand, it's makearightleftheere.com. Do you have what it takes to make a right left here? And the reason is because I do so much and there's a lot of weirdness and I like to turn things on their end and I like to get people to think. And when you go to the website, it says a lot of that stuff. But more importantly, it's the traveling adventures of a resilient entertainer, right? That's the whole point of my personal website is the traveling adventure. So make a right left here. Come along on the adventure. Come travel with me. Come see the world through my eyes. Make a right left here.com. So when you're working, smarter websites have smarter URLs. Yes, purchase the URL of your name, even if it's your band. Like if your band is a crazy band name, right? You still want to own the URL for that. But initially, you want to come up with a slogan or a saying that represents your band, okay? Or your brand. Next, SEO keywords. SEO is a little different than keywords, and keywords is a little different than SEO. Keywords are scattered throughout your website through the copy. Copy is the verbiage, right? SEO is the overall search engine optimization of the website. And you would do that with like meta tags in the coding, header ones. You would have a lot of header ones that have something of value. A header one that says about is not valued. What's that? However, I'm not saying this, but you'd be like about Thomas J. Beleza, or like that would be a strong header one, but I'm not saying do that. I'm using as an example. Keywords would be scattered throughout though. Like for example, if I want to associate my name, Thomas J. Beleza, within copy, maybe I'll add things that represent my missions or my morals or things I have been involved in, and that would be good copy. So think about the kind of words you place into your copy and think about how you overall focus on your SEO, which is again is header ones, meta tags, keywords, obviously, and also images. So on your images, any image you have on it, you should have alternative text in there. So you can click on an image, and in most website development programs like Dreamweaver or even Wix.com or anything like that, it allows you to add a name to that image, but also a description. So in the description, explain what's going on in that image. And if it's a headshot, don't just write headshot, or don't just let the name of the file be headshot 74856783. Maybe write Thomas J. Beleza headshots, actors headshot. Right now, there's some keywords in there or whatever. Okay, so think a little bit on your keywords. Number 3, things a website should have. All right. So before we answer this one, I'm actually going to move to the last thing, and then I'm going to go back to what your website should have. You need hydration. First thing you should see is your brand on your website. Not information that's like, hey, I'm performing here, or buy this or see that. You do want that on like call to actions for, let's say, like you're selling something like a program, or maybe you have a movie out, but you still, that's not the first thing you want people to see. And what I mean, I'll show you in a second when we go to the example website. Brand is the first thing that, so once your page goes over, you should be like boom, and it hits you. The visuals, the information that's being thrown at you before you have to read anything should be your brand. That's what you should take in. You should be like, I know whose website this is. You shouldn't go to a generic website and be like, all right, blue background, white area, black words, and like that's it. And then it says buy my stuff. Brand is not what you say, but what you show. So again, if I go to a website and the website is not showing me your brand, your voice, your image, things that are important to you, or the way you represent them, and I have to read and it says, I am a performer, I am an actor that believes in doing performances and thrillers, and I like comedies and horrors. That's you talking to me. And brand is not what you say, but what you show. So the style, the colors, the images, um, even if like you have a headshot up and then like nothing else, like you're saying a lot about your brand. You're also saying a lot about how much you care about your website. The more you care about your website, the more people will care about you because there's value there. So how you say it and what it looks like are so important to the first thing that people see, which is your brand. All right. So before we jump into the analysis of a website, things that a website should have, remember to please like, comment, and share this video because we want to elevate ourselves as well as elevate others around us. Because if we elevate others around us, we're allowing ourselves opportunities to work, grow, and rise together with quality individuals in our lives, including ourselves, so we can inspire others. All right, let's jump on it. Let's go here. Boom. Should we do it? I want to do this. There you go. All right. So if you go to makearightleft.here.com, all right, the first thing you see is brand. What is the brand? Well, obviously my face is part of the brand, but so is my logo. It says, do you have what it takes to make a right left here? This is the traveling adventures of a resilient entertainer. So the color scheme, the playfulness, uh, the big header. So it's big, it's the bigger than life kind of aspect of the website. And a logo is not necessarily red. The more familiar you become with a logo, the less your brain actually reads the logo. Okay, in marketing, that's how it works. When we see Nike with the check mark, we're not reading Nike. We're just seeing it and we know it's Nike. The same thing with the golden arches. We don't see the golden arches and a McDonald's written, right? When it has McDonald's written in it, we just see it and we know it's McDonald's. So we develop a relationship with the consistency of seeing that logo. And that's the same thing we're trying to establish here. Is on the header, we just boom, here's the logo. So do you have what it takes to make a right left here? Traveling adventures of a resilient entertainer. If you notice, we're not telling people any real information. We're branding it out. We're making you think. We're asking you a question, right? But it's playful. The font is playful. The style, the colors. I have the big silhouette of my face. All right, so I get it. He's a caricature. He's bigger than life, and he plays around, right? So that's how you have to look at a website. You have to say to yourself, the brand has to be seen first. Now, once the brand is seen, right, you want the most important stuff there. So for me, on the top is I want people to know the news, the tours, that I consult, that I have a band named Altanian, that I have a production company, and hey, contact me. And my name is there, Thomas J. Beleza. But it's not the most important information. It's something you have to look up to and to see, right? So you have to make the emotional choice to witness it. Now, here's my first call to action. Is I have my social media there. So I don't expect anyone to click any of these unless they really want to. Like these are choices that people want to do. But it's the first nudge to a call to action. Now you'll see I have the social media icons will be again in a minute. Okay. Then I have my menu. Now each menu, by the way, has its own personality. And by the way, each page also has its own header. So if I go to actor, right, it pops up the actor head, right? Okay. By the way, the consistency of the layout's the same. The photo is not really the most important thing. It's just there. And now the header, the menu has a different image. And if I do comedian, same thing. So here's a new image, right? Okay, and it's a little silly. All right, and then here I am with a banana. Bananas. Okay. So the banana's there. All right, and if you notice, the banana's pointing at the comedian. And the same thing, like look with author. So author, here's my author page, and then look, I have the author's jacket on. So I keep each page consistent with its own brand as well. All right. But anyway, so once we get there, then I have my podcast, because that's the thing. I want people to look at the podcast is the most important thing. I just go listen to the podcast, right? But on my first page, it's more important that I give people my news. What's going on with me? What have I been up to? This is the reason we do this is because if you keep your news up to date, people have to come to your website. And the more they have to come to your website, the more familiar they'll get with your brand and so forth and so on. And if your website is just, hey, buy my stuff or listen to my pod show, there's no real value to your website. Why? Because, well, if I'm listening to your pod show and I liked it, I'm probably following it on Spotify. So now I don't have to go to your website. So now there's one less reason for me to go to a website. Let's say I want to buy your book. Well, once I buy your book, I don't have to go to your website anymore because I know the book was there. I just go to Amazon. I like your book. I just didn't have a chance to buy it, but I saved it on Amazon. So that when I'm ready to buy your book, what do? I go to Amazon. However, maybe I'm not interested in buying your book. But if I keep coming back to the website, I will keep seeing that the book is available, and eventually it will create a relationship choice that is emotional. Okay, and of course I have my videos from YouTube and stuff like that. And I have, this is the right side of your website or the left side. There should be like this is all call to actions. These are true call to actions, right? The podcast, buy now. You can watch a video. Hey, by the way, I consult. So email to set up a call, and here's some music from my band, right? But as you can see, you just go down, and I don't have a lot of news. Like what I do is how many news slots there are. That's it. And as new news comes in, new news, I delete the bottom. So if I get 3 new pieces of news that come in, I delete the last 3 things. Then I have I'm still cleaning this up. I like to clean up and redesign my website every couple of months, every quarter or so. I try to add or subtract things. But this first block is just really another call to action, right? Here's get more subscribers. So this is how to get more subscribers playlist, right? So this is all about building your YouTube. This is all about music. And then this one on the right-hand side is introduction to 365 days of success, how to be successful. So there are 3 things going on here. This is an informative website. There's entertainment, and also I like helping people, right? So that's a part of my brand. And there's some more stuff about brand. But here again, here's another little call to action for the social media. But then here's a big one. Let us connect. And this is stuff that you should have on your website. You should have these big lead up to seed, as I call it, seed up to actionable choices. And now look, they're right here. Boom, really big. And then of course you want to like a mailing newsletter. Now, obviously, if a newsletter was really, really important to you and you wanted people on your newsletter, it would be higher up. So the more important things are, the higher it would be up. So my podcast is the thing I wanted to have the most traffic to. And then after that, the next thing is news, and then anything that's on the sell side. Now, if I wanted more people to follow my newsletter, I would probably put the newsletter here, or I would where the podcast is, I might put it on the right side or the left side and tell people, hey, add yourself to the podcast, add yourself to the newsletter to get more updates on the podcast. All right. But I don't really, my newsletter goes out once a month. I don't really try to sell things on my newsletter. My newsletter is simply just like an update. I like to add inspirational messages in there. I like to provoke people to take action in their lives. And then there's like information like, hey, do you want to get involved in this? I'm working on this, things like that. So, and then I have my coming events. And again, I don't really, right now, there's no reason for people to be coming to events for me, but all my events are online anyway right now. So I have it lower. And then you have your footer, and your footer pops again. Hey, remember, I have social media, so come connect with me. And these are all the social media outlets in a little picture. Okay. Now, if you go to any other page, let's go to acting. Acting will just generate the information for actors. So the Podcast will be there because, again, it's the most important thing. I want people to listen to podcasts. The right side for me, or the left side, right? Because things you should have on your website are these sell spots. For like an actor, you might have on there like, have you been in movies? Can people see your movies? Well, if they can, I would have that on your cell block. So you would show like the poster, or even just like I did with this available on Amazon. You might do like a thing like that and it says click to watch now or whatever, or click to watch to rent, things like that. Anyway, so then this is just the acting thing. So it just breaks down my resume. And then what's after that? It's all the same again, because the reason you want to have consistency, you want to change the bulk body information, and you want to make sure the page itself represents what we're looking at. For, again, with comedian, I have a silly header, I have a silly menu, etc., etc. And then we go down. Look, I hate people who ask me about stuff only so they can tell me about their experience. I know your game. No one cares about your trip to Hershey Park, Karen. I had bad Mexican once, but you don't hear me bragging about my Hershey Park adventure. So my humor is stupid, right? It's stupid humor. So I have that there. That, like, the joke is that I ate some bad Mexican food and I had my own Hershey Park experience. So it's stupid humor, right? But then I give people a chance to look at. Now, I don't put every show that I've ever done on there. What I did was, this is like one of my first shows ever, this McGuire comedy thing. My real first show was in 2007, but I don't have the video for that. And then here's the 2010, here's 2013, and here's 2016. So what I do is I just kind of every couple of years I would put up a new video. Obviously, COVID slowed it down, so I can't do that. All right, but then once we hit the bottom, there it is again. It's all the same information, okay? And this is how your website should really be. It should be filled with reason to come back, right? So now here's some stuff. There's updates. Oh, I have books, right? I have 5 books altogether. So I have She, which is already out. I'm working on this book, and I'm working on this book, and these ones are outlined. So they're all going to be coming out over the course of time, right? And there's information on there. And look, you could look at the image is larger. So now if you come back, there'll be more. Look, I even have these books, right? That's how you have to look at your website. It has to be. Look at that. Thomas J. Beleza. All right. There we go. We're done with that. All right. So what I'm saying is your website should have a couple of things on it, and then we're gonna finish up after this real quick. So the first thing your website should have is your brand, right? So brand, right? But the thing is, like, your menus and stuff, like, even if you have like about, right, music, maybe acting stuff, right, contact, whatever, let's say media. Oh, that was the other thing. Like, if you go to make a right left here, you'll see that I have a TJB for president, and that's because I'm just adding a little bit of my personality. And my slogan for becoming president is "We can if you let me can," and like donate $1. Like, it's all just a joke. And then I have like all my decrees, and that's just my personality, my brand coming out. That I'm just silly and just like to have fun, and I don't take myself too seriously. And it's life is about laughter and everything. But what I'm getting at here is, if you have a website, right, your menu is an opportunity to represent your brand. So let's say you had like a tour page, right? Let's say we had tour, right? Tour, right? And news. Let's say you had news, okay? And let's say you're a heavy metal band, and your band is your songs are all about like war and destruction and chaos, right? And battle. So maybe your news section would be mission debriefing, right? Now, obviously, the more people come to your website, the more they'll get it. The more, oh, this is right. And maybe for the first couple of years, you have mission debriefing, right? News, right? Or mission debriefing, or you could have it as the button. The menu button is news, but then when you go there, The header to your news section would be mission debriefing. And what you're doing there is you're creating brand. Your brand is being represented through what you show, not what you say. Even though you're writing mission debriefing, but the meaning is based on what you're showing here. So yeah, they might click on news, but then it takes them to the mission debriefing, and then you would have your news written out in the same way. Maybe the briefing would be like, it'll look like a folder, right? And then the information would be written in like Roman text or type text, whatever, like there's a piece of paper on the. So you have to kind of create a style that represents what you're talking about. Another thing is, maybe tours would be, so let's say you click on tours, right? And then it takes you there and you go mission log, right? So mission log. Okay. Right over. So the idea is allow yourself to play with what your brand is and the way you represent it on your page. It's okay to play around and see what works and what doesn't work, because it's your website, and allow it to express yourself. A website is useless if it's just, hey, like let's say that you go to it and it's your name, here's some headshots, here's a photo, here's a head, play the song, and then every time you go to that website, it's always the same thing. It's a stagnant page or one sheet where you can just kind of scroll all the way down. And there's nothing new. Maybe occasionally you'll change the headshots, but changing headshots is not necessarily brand or data. The reason we go to Facebook so much or Twitter or TikTok is because the data is constant. Your website doesn't have to be as aggressive as, say, a TikTok, but it should be something where people go. And that's why I believe in a news page. A news page makes it easy for you to absolutely just keep updating your website every week, because every week something has to happen. Either you had a great meeting, you're preparing for something, there's a before, during, and after aspect of your adventure. Maybe you're working on a new video that's coming out, and every week you just update the new video. Filmed a video this week, edit next time, edited a video this week, next time, finalize the video, picture locked. Okay, next time, the next week, video is scheduled for release on this day. The next time, here's the video. And then you just got 4 posts for one thing that you're doing. Now, obviously, there would be other stuff going on too. So it would obviously be working on, sitting with director to work out video for a new song. That would be like that would be the first thing that happens, right? But then you have something else that goes on. You go, maybe band practice. You came up with a new riff. Band practice was very productive and came up with a new riff, working on a new song. I'm so glad Ted brought in something. But same thing with an actor. An actor has great news, right? Are you auditioning? Well, that's news. Did you prepare for an audition? Did your manager get you the audition? Each of these are different, right? Let's say you have a manager, and the manager gets you an audition. The news is, I'm grateful for the opportunity that my manager allowed me to do another audition. I'm lucky that I'm getting to take the time to do a self-tape, especially during this time. Then you do the audition, and the next week is, did you get the gig or did they not get the gig, right? If you didn't get the gig, you go, oh, I still haven't heard back from the audition I did last week. But as we always find out, sometimes it could take up to 16 weeks before we know, and other times it could be known right away. The reality is, get it or don't get it, keep doing what you're doing. And now your brand is in there because what? You're resilient. It's right, and you're also giving a lesson. Like you're saying, hey, if I get it or don't get it, I don't care. But like, just keep going. Just keep going, and it's a good message, right? And then maybe you do get it. So you go, hey, I did an audition a couple weeks ago, and I officially got booked. I can't really give the details on it, but it is a feature film, and I have one of the lead roles or one of the supporting roles or whatever. And then first day of, I officially got news. I got the script to the film that I successfully auditioned for. I'm pretty excited. My character has some really interesting traits that I can identify with. Now it's down to breaking the script down. And there you go. There's more news. And what you're doing is you're telling your audience, A, you're active. B, they're watching you succeed through your career, and they could root for you because they're seeing your trials and tribulations. More importantly, people that are interested in hiring you are seeing how you market yourself. And they're seeing that when you're involved in something, you're very vocal about it, but you don't give any information away, which is good. And other things is, oh, they break down the script. They talk about their process, right? And then maybe, let's say you have a YouTube channel, and on our YouTube channel, it's you showing how you break down scripts. Maybe not the scripts you got, because you got to keep certain stuff private, but it shows you how you break down the scripts. And now what are you doing? You're showing and not telling people. They're seeing your process, and they go, if I hire this person, I know they know how to break down a script really good. So you have to think of your website as an opportunity to sell yourself, but more importantly, represent your brand the most and be informative to your audience. All right, there you go. That was a good 30 minutes. I'm pretty excited about that. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments below. And as I always say, like, comment, and share this video along with subscribing for future content on how to be successful in your career, specifically the entertainment industry. And the reason we like to share this video is because as we elevate ourselves with this free knowledge that I like to throw out there on the internet, we want to elevate the people around us, because remember, the 5 people you hang out with the most become the world you hang in, the world you become. So you can work, grow, and rise together. Be good to one another. I'll see you next time, Monday through Friday, 4:30s. Be good.